Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen,
This
to part
is
2 of episode 1.
the Political Compass Test. I'm Darius Rahmanian,
I'm Jake Nipper.
and this is where we left off on an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Now, I disagree with this statement because, we're not animals, and if you just give what you get all the time, there's no empathy, there's no mercy, there's no sense of, human connection.
Right, and although someone may commit a crime, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should do that thing back to them. That idea comes from a very ancient time period, and I feel like as a society we've moved past that. We don't need to put someone's eye out because they put out our eye. Instead, we can just put them in prison and leave them there. I think that's a more humane way of doing things. So, Next question. How about taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis?
I strongly disagree with
Slap
this.
that strongly disagree button.
I mean, if you want to tap that agree or strongly agree, go ahead. But what we think, I think what we both believe is that no, I think museums and theaters need to exist because without them, without support from the government or others, that they won't survive, and we won't have options to go look at all these historic items, learn about our histories, learn about our ancient ancestor histories.
And it's the economic concept of a good that is publicly funded, where if you have a good that everybody would benefit from if it existed, but not everybody can individually pay for, then you just share the expense, and that's perfectly fine. You think, would you want to pay for roads? Like, those cost a lot of money, but we all pay for them, and so we collectively own them. We collectively are able to appreciate them and use them and enjoy their function. Mm-hmm. But we can't all pay for them individually because it'd be too much. So, next question.
Taxpayers... Oh, sorry, we just did that one.
Yeah.
School should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I strongly disagree. I think school is an extremely important part of one's life, and until you hit higher education, where it's your choice to go to your classes or not, I think K through 12 is compulsory. It should be made compulsory because we need to learn. The younger generations need to learn. They need to learn math. They need to learn history. Sure.
2 plus 2 is 4. Minus 1, that's 3. Quick maths.
Yeah. I think. No, it's
definitely. Well, I agree with you.
That we strongly disagree.
I don't strongly disagree, but I disagree. I think people need. It's one of those things where you're gonna be glad that you did it when you look back. You may not want to go to school now, but when you are working retail for the rest of your life and can't go anywhere because you don't have a high school diploma, you're gonna be really, really pissed that the government did not make you do that thing when you weren't in the right headspace to make that decision for yourself. So I would disagree. And next question would be, all people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind.
I strongly disagree
This is called segregation.
Yeah.
I think the vast majority of us and our listeners are going to strongly disagree with this. I mean, it's not even a point that we have to discuss.
Okay.
Humans are equal.
Yeah, for the whole sake of the point, it's like any kind of segregation is bad. We're all human beings, and especially we're all American citizens. And by that definition, all men are treated equal under the eyes of God, or all men are treated equal underneath the eyes of, just natural human rights that, we deserve to be together.
Right. So that's just kind of a moot point.
Yeah.
Anyways, next question. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children.
I agree with this. I think children need to learn who's boss sometimes. I think children just can't... Boss. I think children just can't be left to their own whimsy and not be able to learn that if you steal or you beat up another kid, you're not getting away with it. You're not getting a light slap on their hand. You're not getting your Xbox taken away for a week. You need to be a little bit physically reminded that it's embedded within you.
Yeah.
That that you should not do that. You should not do that. Because I remember when I was a kid, real quick, that when I got spanked, I would remember I will never ever do that again. I remember that. I remember that I should not do that because I will be dealt some sort of physical reminder that it's wrong.
Exactly. And I tend to agree on this question as well. Not strongly agree, but I agree.
I don't strongly agree either. I think that, you shouldn't lynch your child or anything.
Well, physical discipline that isn't too far, that isn't going to scar your kid and isn't going to physically harm your kid is sometimes warranted. If your kid does something bad enough to where you need to just give them the simplest and purest reminder possible to never do that again, sometimes it's going to have to be spanking them. And that's not going to physically hurt them enough to where, it's damaging.
But it'll remind them. It'll just remind them. Yeah.
And so, firm but not too hard.
Actually, wait. Pause it.
So it's sometimes necessary, and that's fine. Next question. It's natural for some children, or I'm getting all these wrong today, boys. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents.
I regularly agree with this.
Yeah, same.
We shouldn't keep all secrets because their job of a parent is to lead and guide a child. But if you're not telling your parents some things, the most important things, then they can't help you.
Right, but naturally, when you're growing up, especially in this stage of development,
it's just a quirk you'll have.
You're going to keep some secrets from your parents, and that's fine. And I think that's part of I think it's at the age of 3 that kids their brains learn how to lie, and that's just it's an important part of brain development, and it's natural.
It's just a part of it. It's just a part of what we do, and you see, I can't give any concrete examples because I don't remember, but I do definitely keep secrets sometimes, and it just happens, and if you get in trouble, you get in trouble, but at the same time, it's just gonna happen no matter what.
It is natural.
Yeah. Our next question is, possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Now, I disagree. I do believe drugs, no matter what they are, or even alcohol for that, they do damage you. But used in moderation, yes, they're okay. Used in legality, yes, they're okay. But there are some serious consequences for either overuse, and as a human being, looking at it from a macro perspective, there's statistics that prove, which I don't have the statistics, but there obviously are statistics that prove that, macro use of such a recreational drug on a scale will begin to kill people, and it will hurt. I just disagree. I wouldn't say you should get a federal offense for possessing marijuana, because definitely, it's smoking just a tad won't kill you. Okay, sure, you could get addicted, but at the same time, smoking a tad won't kill you. But I just disagree. I think there should be some basic level in which you should get in trouble for either underage smoking or or just drugs in general.
I do not think it's a criminal offense, and I don't think it should be a criminal offense. And so I would agree with this statement, because the thing about marijuana is, after your brain is fully developed, as long as you're smoking in moderation, just like alcohol, if you drink in moderation, there's no health side effects. There's no detriments to your health. You drink moderately and your liver isn't going to kill. Mm-hmm. Kick the bucket. You smoke moderately, you're not going to develop dementia or something. That's just
that's wrong. No, if you smoke in general, like smoking, like tobacco, that stuff will kill you if you smoke it too long.
No, I'm talking about marijuana.
Okay, good. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Continue.
And so you smoke a little bit of marijuana, and you don't smoke enough to where you give yourself brain damage, and you're going to be fine in your adult life. Now, underage smoking is dangerous because you can potentially stunt your brain growth, and that's proven. And so I'd be very wary of that. I don't think that should be legal. I think it should only be legal at the age of 21, because that's the point where the vast majority of the population's brains have stopped growing and stopped developing. And so after that point, I think it's fine. It's just I can
definitely see your points there. I don't know, man. To me, it's always been a gut feeling. Maybe it was those promotional videos, those PSAs they had in middle school. Maybe it was those, but just to me in general, it's a gut feeling that if I do this, if I continue to do this, there's just something wrong about it. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just I disagree, and you moderately agree. So yeah, I think we can move on to the next question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. I slightly disagree with this, because
Me too.
Yeah, I think school needs to have a balance of both. Because if you guys of both equipping you to learn how to do a job, but also helping you learn something, helping you build life experiences
and become a better, more well-rounded individual.
Exactly.
Be a good citizen.
Yeah. Because if there's one thing, if you get an engineering job, right, in the future, if you get an engineering job, they're not going to just give you a project and say, all right, no calculator, go, right? Like they would on a math test, say, hey, no calculator, go. You're going to have teammates. You're going to have everyone around you. It's going to be a job 9 to 5 that you do every single day. You're going to have your skill you learned through schooling, right? But at the same time, I definitely don't think school should just be for finding jobs. Should be finding who you are as a person and helping you apply yourself to potentially in the future find these jobs.
Right. If school was just to equip the future generation to find jobs, then we would be living in like Brave New World-esque
utilitarian
post-apocalyptic dystopia where your only purpose is to perform a certain job
without having any sense of individuality.
And you are genetically bred to do that job for the rest of your life. That's not what our schools do to us. Our schools make us well-rounded individuals so that we can make informed decisions and contribute to society and find the job that we want. That, I think, but its main purpose is to make
then again, not all jobs
individual.
contribute to society. What does a model do for society? What does do they look pretty? Sure.
Well, that's just capitalism.
Yeah, that's just capitalism in general. But
that's fine. So, finding jobs is a
crucial part.
Function, but it's not the prime function of schooling.
Exactly.
Next question.
People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce.
We call this eugenics.
Yeah, I just disagree with this. This is dumb. You can't just breed out. I mean, okay, sure, you can breed out bad things. They do that with livestock all the time.
The problem is we're not livestock.
We're not livestock. We're literally human beings.
No matter how debilitated a person is, they still have the exact same amount of human rights
to exist.
than you and me do.
To even exist, yeah.
They're allowed to exist. They're allowed to reproduce. They're allowed to own property. They're allowed to be happy.
Yeah.
Those are the things you can't take away from people.
Mm-hmm.
So, no matter how badly of a disability someone has, you can't take away the right to reproduce because that's just not humane.
It's just wrong. I mean,
yeah, and so I strongly disagree. It's eugenics, and I don't agree with eugenics. Sorry.
Yeah, our next question is the most important thing for children to learn to accept is discipline. No, I disagree, but then at the same time, I do agree with the fact that children.
They need to accept discipline, but that's not the important thing.
The important thing about being a child is to also accept discipline, but to be a child. What do young boys like to do? Young boys love to be rambunctious. They love running around. They're energetic, right? And if you apply that to, like, say, a classroom setting, for example, that's why there's a massive over prescription of like ADHD because little boys love to run around and be little boys.
And that's like a societal problem.
It's a societal problem.
But getting back to the question, the thing about accepting discipline is if that is the most important core characteristic to teach your child, then your child is never going to know.
They're not going to have fun. They're not going to have fun.
Not only that, but they're not going to know how to stand up to like unjust laws and unjust rules and things that they don't fundamentally agree with.
They'll be complacent.
They'll be 100% complacent. And do you think the civil rights movement and other human rights campaigns would have ever happened with complacency?
No.
Mandela's campaign did not happen with complacency. King's campaign did not happen with complacency. Gandhi's campaign did not happen with complacency.
Well, the point was not to be, but like, you need to overthrow the British. You kind of have to like fight them.
Right, and
it'll still happen. Whatever.
You can't just accept discipline for the rest of your life. It's an important part because sometimes the rules you need to learn
how to deal with the rules.
Right,
and the rules are there for a reason.
There are some rules that you need to learn how to follow, and some rules that maybe don't deserve to be followed. So there needs to be a balance of learning to accept discipline and knowing when that discipline is unwarranted.
Exactly.
So
next question.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, this is a really funny one. There are no savage and civilized people. There are only different cultures. I strongly disagree with this. I'm not trying to be racist.
I just moderately disagree.
No, I think that there is a prime difference between you and me who are sitting here in a civilized society who have had ancestors who have built these societies and were civilized than someone in the middle of the Amazon jungle who eats children.
Yeah, that's true.
There is a complete difference.
Like, there are a lot of cannibalistic cultures out there.
Call it a culture. Call it a culture if you want.
It is a culture, but it's not a good culture.
It's not civilized.
It's not civilized.
It's
pretty savage. I mean, I'm Indian, right? I'm half Indian, but I fully acknowledge that the sub-facets and cultures and tribes of India that exist with cannibalism and like eat each other's feces.
They literally throw poop at each other. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's not civilization. That's savagery.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with accepting that. And so, if your quote unquote culture includes cannibalism or flinging feces at each other,
Go ahead. I mean,
you can
you're
do
not
you.
You're not
but
civilized.
I'm not going to consider you civilized. That's right. So I mean, that
Are they
sounds
not
harsh.
human? Are they human? I mean, yeah, they're human.
They're human.
They're human, but am I going to treat them like I would Jake right here and be like, hey, dude, let's have an intelligent conversation? No, they're going to throw poop at me.
And try to eat you.
Yeah.
Like, that's... I'm not trying to be
We're
a
not
racist,
trying to be the bad guys here, but we're just saying there is a clear difference.
And it sucks, but it's just kind of the way it is.
It's a clear difference.
There's some places that just are civil, and there's just savages, and it's just... You know,
it's pretty bad.
I'm not saying that, like, people with different cultures are automatically savages.
No, if you're in China...
There are plenty of civilized Middle Easterns and civilized Indians and civilized Native Americans back in the day. There are civilized people all over the world, but there's, like, that...
There's a difference between a cultured Native American, like the Cherokee or the Iroquois, who are, like, proud warrior cultures.
That doesn't make you savage.
Yeah, there's a difference between having an innate culture, religion, and social life, and then throwing poop at each other.
There's a pretty distinct difference. So, please don't get me wrong.
Don't get triggered. Just don't get triggered.
Don't get triggered, that's right. We respect cultures, but
not savages.
There's some that are just, like, I wouldn't call... like the 1% of the 1% of the 1% is savage, but like that's a very.
I would never ever call Native Americans savages because they are respected warrior cultures. I mean, and this is really another good point is that the Mayas and the Aztecs. The only reason why we don't call them savages is because they built some of the greatest empires in South America that even rivaled Rome at some points. But at the same time, the Aztecs literally cut off each other's penises and drank their blood.
Yeah, they're doing blood sacrifices. They're doing weird stuff.
I mean, the Romans were really weird too with like their whole gladiator thing. But then again, at least I'm not cutting off another dude's penis and drinking his blood.
That's right. So
next one.
Next question. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support.
I strongly agree.
I
think if you're lazy, if you are a perfectly able-bodied person, yet you refuse to work and live in squalor, I'm not paying you to be poor.
Yeah.
I'm paying you to go do work and contribute as a member of society.
Yeah, I think if you are able to work and you just refuse and you have job opportunities, but you just don't take them because you're a lazy ass, like
oof.
You should not be put on welfare. There's no reason for that. You should just be left there until either you starve or you wise up and start contributing to society and get a job somehow.
The American dream is not sitting there and getting paid welfare. The American dream is going out there, working hard, and doing your job. And is making yourself happy.
And who in the world wants to live off of someone else's tax money? Like, what kind of existence
there obviously
is that?
are people, and I'm not going to say they're not a majority population. They're a very small population.
Yeah, it just disgusts me nonetheless that the taxes that I pay from the paychecks that I make are like
and
part
yes,
of that.
Me and Jake do pay taxes. We both have jobs, and I have paid taxes.
Part of those earnings go towards people who just sit on their couches in their mom's basements and don't have jobs and refuse to work, and they just like smoke weed and watch Elmo all day. Like, what are you doing with your life? Stop.
Yeah, also listen to Little Pump.
Little Pump.
Yeah, the people that do this, people that listen to Little Pump unironically. All right.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Next question. When you are troubled, it is better to not think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things.
I just disagree. I think that when it comes down to it, I think you need to deal with the hard things sometimes. I think you need to learn to deal with how life is going. You just can't go on Instagram. You just can't go on
escapism
YouTube.
Only goes so far. Escapism works for the short term, but in the long term, you're done with the media or whatever that you've been consuming to forget your troubles, and you're left with what?
What are you left with? Yeah,
you're left with the same problem that you just left.
I definitely do think society today has like a thinly masked veil. It's like one of those humor masks, like from ancient Greece, with the smiley and the sad face. That I feel like sometimes we put on facade. Like society as a whole, as a macro civilization. Oh, that's so edgy. I just said so edgy. No, but like when they put those masks on, we're not facing the difficult things in life. Instead, we're going to Starbucks every day. We're going to Target every day, buying our Cheez-Its.
You can't drown your problems by ignoring them or throwing money at them, etc. You need to do the hard things sometimes. So I disagree. Next question. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country.
I disagree with this as an American, but if you look on, like, as an American, because I obviously, me and Jake both have family members who have immigrated here and had become successful. They have worked hard. They've integrated, and we have become their children.
Right.
We're also American citizens. We are also working extremely hard.
Like, my mom is a first-generation immigrant, and she's more American than she'll ever be Indian.
Yeah.
She grew up in this culture, and she grew up to accept this culture. She did not grow up in India. She grew up here. She was just born in India, and she is fully integrated into her society.
Yeah, exactly.
And her parents and my grandparents are extremely fully integrated into our society. They are at peace with the establishment, and they pay their taxes. And
they do their civic duties.
They do their civic duties,
and
they respect what our country does and our laws and what we have to offer. So,
but I have to unfortunately say, what's happening in Europe right now is not what's happening in America. If you're a European citizen, if I was a European citizen right now, I would have a completely different
I can understand why someone would.
Exactly. We're not going to go down into that. That's an episode all on itself, talking about the migration crisis.
But I can understand where the opposing viewpoint is on this question. But I'm going to have to.
Yeah, I disagree as well.
Yeah.
Or was it agree or disagree?
If you think that they can be integrated, then disagree.
So next question: what's good for the most successful corporations is ultimately good for all of us.
Disagree.
I disagree with that. I think there's really no discussion.
It's a pretty simple logic game. What's good for the most successful corporations is more money.
Yeah.
And more money for them equals cutting corners, screwing over their employees, screwing over the environment, etc., to make a higher profit.
Yeah.
That's not good for all of us.
It's not a good human practice. It's a good competition.
Well, yeah, it's a good business practice, but that doesn't equal good environmental or societal practice.
Exactly.
Best thing for a business is to form a monopoly and kill competition so that you can charge whatever you want for your goods. That is not good for all of us. Sorry. So I'm going to strongly disagree.
Yeah, I just disagree. I don't know. It's not something that pulls me so hard.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, if you ever take econ, you'll start to.
Well, no, I know about economics, but I got it. So, no broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. I strongly disagree.
Yeah.
I think without PBS, or without these publicly funded, no matter how independent, they are providing information, providing their own views on topics.
Thought-provoking content, professional content that deserves to be heard, and unfortunately, some of these mediums are just not gaining the amount of money that they should be. They should be getting. So the government should fund these things.
I mean, and it's also the fact. What's like a young adult going to listen to? Is he going to listen to the next World Star? Is he going to listen to thought-provoking social commentary? Right.
And so the money is elsewhere. But this content deserves to be heard, and I have no problems with my taxpayer money going towards NPR. So
yeah, next page, boys.
Our civil liberties. Oh, this is wider society. So our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Agreed.
I strongly disagree.
It's for me, looking back on Snowden and that crisis and the WikiLeaks guy. In the Ecuadorian embassy in England, all these things that people have been discovering that are just infringing on our privacy with the rise of the information technology era, it scares the absolute hell out of me. And I mean, I'm not paranoid that Big Brother's watching me, but the problem is the technology is out there for to happen. So if we were to ever be put into a dictatorship or a society where our governments would want to do that, it would not be difficult at all for them to start monitoring us.
I can definitely agree, but at the same time, I strongly disagree. And this is just how conversation works. Is that I believe that right now, as a normal 17-year-old dude who enjoys video games and enjoys making really awful memes, that I don't feel Big Brother watching me. I don't feel like in any way.
So you have nothing to hide.
I have nothing to hide.
And I can respect that.
If an FBI guy or CIA, NSA dude is looking at my browser and he sees I've watched 10 terabytes of pornography, as long as it's not anything to do that harms the United States, I should be fine, correct?
Yeah,
but if I'm typing to ISIS and be like, hey guys, I'm going to go do this, that's a problem.
Right.
That's a big problem.
No, I can see the counterpoint, but I think you can see my point as well. So,
no, of course I can.
Respectfully agree to disagree. let's move on.
Yeah, next one. A significant advantage of one-party state is that it avoids all arguments that delay programs in a democratic political system.
Strongly disagree. Here's the problem.
I moderately disagree because it does really have a point that, if we just, but I don't. I'm a strong person for democracy and republics and all that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's like the whole communism, it sounds good on paper, but not in real life.
Well, the problem with the one-party state is if you avoid all arguments. And arguments are the most efficient way of improving a system.
Then you're not going to get any better.
Then you're not going to
You're
get
just going to hit status quo.
Right.
That's how empires fall.
And that when your country stagnates, that's when it's the most vulnerable and it falls. You're completely correct. So I strongly disagree.
I just disagree. I think it still makes a pretty good point.
Yeah, that's fine. So next question. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried.
We basically just talked about this.
So,
I strongly agree because I think, like I said before, if I'm looking at porn, okay, and it's not harming the United States government in any way, I should be fine. Now,
and I'm going to disagree on this one. We've already talked about this. Just to save some time, we're going to move on.
The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. I'm gonna slap that slightly agree button.
I'm gonna slap the strongly disagree button, and here's why. You take, say, 100 people, you put them on death row, and one of them is plausibly innocent. Let's say 99 of them were caught in the act of murder, and one of them was not, but evidence was found on him, and there's a good chance that evidence was planted. Do you think it's humane and moral and ethically correct to put him on death row when there's a good chance that he could be innocent? Even if there's 1 million people on death row and one of them is innocent, you can't just kill them because you're gonna have innocent blood on your hands. So I think
I know that is completely correct, but for me, I don't know. I mean, I feel so bad. I have to sound like the bad guy, but if you shoot up an orphanage, if you shoot up a school bus,
oh yeah, you deserve to die.
No, you're gonna have to go away. Sure, okay, but it's when it says the most serious crimes and there's tangible evidence, tangible proof that you shot up 30 orphans. You're going away. Sorry, dude. So I don't care.
Maybe
you're gonna get justice for it.
Yeah.
You're going to go through the system. You're going to get your just desserts, and by just desserts, you're going to get electrocuted or get lethally injected.
So I think what you're probably saying is the death penalty should stick around, but the requirements to earn the death penalty should be severely increased.
Well, exactly.
You need to have tangible evidence.
You need to have tons and tons of evidence.
Beyond reasonable doubt has to be a lot stronger than it already is.
Exactly.
Because there are innocents on death row, and that's completely terrible. So with the status of the policy that it's at now, I'm gonna have to strongly disagree and say that
I just say I agree.
The death penalty
I slightly
can't be.
agree.
Yeah.
No, I can see your point, Jake.
And I can see yours.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. I just regularly agree with this. I think even as a hyper-individualist, hyper-centrist, or whatever person, whatever, I'm a free-thinking, mashugana, whatever, all right? But, no, I believe that there are people wiser than us, there are people older than us that deserve to be commanded, who deserve to be respected, who are leaders in our society. Now, whether or not they are corrupt is a completely different question in itself.
I just don't like the rhetoric of this question where people below are to be commanded. In a free society like ours, I wouldn't say that any of us is commanded. The only thing we're commanded to do is follow the law and pay our taxes.
But at the same time, I think in the whole writing on paper sense, if I have kids, right,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a teenage son, just hypothetically, right, he needs to listen to me. He needs to learn that when you're at a job, right, your boss will tell you to go do something, and you gotta go do it. Why? Sure, your boss sits around and lazes around all day sometimes, but how did he get there? How did he earn that position? And if you're thinking, yeah, my boss earned that position because they worked hard, then you need to listen to them because they probably know better than you do.
Right, and so I would just moderately disagree because in a free society, people aren't necessarily commanded to do much. They're commanded to pay their taxes and follow the law, and that's about it. So I just moderately disagree because I don't like the wording.
This is another funny fun debate question. Abstract art that does not represent anything at all should not be considered art. And I strongly agree. I think that
I moderately agree.
I think I've been to some of the most famous museums in the entire Western world, the Louvre, some of the British museums, and if you take a look at a Picasso or a Rembrandt and you compare them
To like some idiot that smudged some
yeah,
chalk onto
sure,
it.
Picasso is abstract, but it's the stuff you can get behind.
And
It's
you
the stuff
know that he has so much talent because he put out amazing things beforehand.
yeah, and or if you could even consider abstract art like what's the one guy, Salvador Dali, like that guy. That
I'm not a big art guy, so I
but
wouldn't know.
I just know moderately about art.
Yeah.
But if you look at Salvador Dali and some of his, even Fernando Botero, stuff that is almost completely abstract or can be even seen as comedical by today's standards, you can tell there is effort, there is love, there's passion, complete passion behind this.
While
But
some artists these days will take
a little
paintbrush
square, they'll take a
and-
square, smudge it a little bit, but all right, guys,
This
is my
represents the emptiness inside that I feel. No, just stop. Just
That's
stop.
not art. That's not
Like,
art at all.
The only reason you're selling it is the same reason
name
Supreme sells, is because it's a name brand.
And even then, Supreme can be considered more art than some of these pieces because Supreme is something you can wear and
It's
be
a
proud of.
logo. It's a
Well, so,
rectangular
I mean-
logo with.
If you've seen some of their more like artsy shirts, then you could agree. I'm only wearing my senior shirt with the kind of fake logos because like it's Friday. But
Yeah.
at the same time, no, I've seen some Supreme shirts and some of those could be even considered pieces of work in themselves by actual artists.
Yeah. So I mean, this is just our opinions. You can disagree. That's
Yeah.
fine. It's just I don't understand the appeal. Next question: in criminal justice, punishment should be more important than
I
rehabilitation.
think we both agree on this. I
Strongly disagree.
I just disagree. I don't think we need to talk about it since we're
Yeah.
both kind of on the same side here. But yeah, no.
Basically-
if someone gets in trouble for holding some marijuana, right? Don't and they're becoming addicted or whatnot. Please don't throw them into solitary confinement for the rest of their lives. These people can be reintegrated into society because they're human and they can learn from.
Not only that,
mistakes.
but say someone commits a felony, you with the justice system today, they're put on a list of felons, and that has to be reported in most of the country whenever you apply for a job. So if there's someone equally as qualified as you, but you are a federal offender and they're not, they're going to get the job and you'll be left jobless. What are you going to do when you're jobless? You're going to go back to stealing people's money to go buy more dope to forget about the fact that you have no job and nowhere to go in your life. Instead of that, why don't you teach someone vocational skills or allow them to finish high school
Provide
or
for
something
themselves, yeah.
and give them an opportunity to provide for themselves, give them a reason to wake up in the morning. There's no reason to just put someone on an unemployment status for the rest of their lives and just expect them to be functioning members of society.
And
that's why I strongly disagree.
yeah, no. And so our next question is going to sound like really contradictory to what we just said, but listen to the wording of this question carefully. It is a waste of time to rehabilitate some criminals. I strongly agree.
I agree.
I think there are some people who are just so out there, so evil in the soul that you cannot reintegrate them.
Well, I mean, look at like the Las Vegas shooter. Do you think if he was still alive, we'd be able to reintegrate him into society? No. Do you think we would have been able to reintegrate the Columbine shooters into society? No. There's some people are just so far gone and so mentally cracked that there's no hope. But the vast majority of criminals that are just normal people that make some bad decisions do need some attention.
Exactly. Our next question was also a very nice discussion topic. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. Now, hear me out. So, I'm a student, right? And in college. And I wanna make money in my life, right? But I think of myself as some sort of philosophical intellectual, right? But the thing is, I'm not the next Martin Luther King. I'm not the next Gandhi. I'm just some average student who wants to go into the field of philosophy. How much does like a basic philosopher pay? I don't know, but I could say it's probably not much unless you get a very prestigious place. Or the flip side, you could become a business person. And the thing is, as a regular business person, even if you become a PR person, right? And you're good at it, and you don't even have to be the next like Martin Luther King of PR.
They
you can
contribute
just be
in
moderate.
tangible ways.
You can be a moderate at PR, but still get fat cash and contribute to society.
Well,
the artist and the writer are extremely important to the cultural side, but when it comes to building a society, I think they're somewhat equal. But I definitely agree that the business person, the manufacturer, will contribute a lot more with their $150,000 degrees and their certified knowledge in the field.
The thing is, these two groups contribute to society in different ways. Do you think the people that write the president's speeches in the time of war are not important?
Well, they're also versed in many, many other things.
Right, but the point stands is that when it comes to communication with human beings and rallying people behind a cause, nothing does it more effectively
they
than
work together.
a
But
talented
let's
writer.
just take it, like I said before. Let's just take it
There's more of an abstract contribution with writers and artists and a more tangible contribution, physical contribution.
with businesses and
Yeah,
manufacturers.
so
But
I'm going to disagree. You can
think,
agree.
I think that business people and manufacturers in the real world, where they make actual physical changes to markets and the way things work, I think they are more important in
That's
some
just fine.
aspects.
That's
Because I'm a very
perfectly-
creative person.
Yeah.
I'm very creative, but at the same time, I'm trying to be real here.
No, yeah, that's a valid opinion too. Next question. We're 3 away from the end of this page.
This is this very quick disclaimer. We are not sexists. Jake has a girlfriend, but I do not. But I prefer a girlfriend, lady. No, I'm not. I'm just
He's
saying.
single.
We are not trying to be sexist here. This is a big fat disclaimer that we're not trying to trig you.
But what we're about to say here, for this question, by the way, is mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers.
And I think we both agree on this.
I moderately agree.
I
Here's
moderately
why.
agree as well.
If you choose to have a child, you are responsible for that child.
They come first.
I want every woman who wants a career to have a career because they deserve it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to stop women from being in the fields. Yeah,
They're perfectly willing and able. If they're perfectly willing and able to have a career, please do have a career. Because I would love for a woman to be able to provide for herself and contribute to her family financially, and to contribute to society with their job. Excuse the bell, ladies and gentlemen. But
pause it because people might come back. Yeah, pause it.
sorry for the interruption, guys. Anyways, like we were saying, the thing about having a child is when you have that child, your first responsibility is to develop your child into a functioning contributor to society, a functioning human adult. And if you put your career before raising your child, that's not going to happen. I want women who have the desire to pursue a career because that's great for everybody.
And if you don't have a kid, that's also fine. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not.
If you don't have a
optimal,
child,
but like,
please have a career. Have a successful career. But when you do have a child, you can still have a career, and that's perfectly fine. But you need to put the
child first before
you need
your
to put the
career.
child first. And sure, there are the rare stay-at-home dads, and that's great. The roles can be reversed, but one of the parents has to make their first duty raising and rearing a child.
Do you guys know where Miss Albers went?
She's in there.
So that's why
yeah.
I agree.
So-
I don't strongly agree, but I agree, and I think Darius would.
I just regularly agree as well.
Yeah.
But this is my 2 cents on the subject. All right. As a male, let's start with this first and foremost, because I have a penis in between my legs and I have testosterone. So let's get this male part of the way, because I don't want to sound like a sexist. Is that when I grow up, I am willing to go work 80-hour weeks, if that is even possible, to support my family, to give them the things that are possible. I am willing, I am ready to be committed to providing for my wife and child if it is almost completely necessary. And if it's the job of my wife to be with my kids and to provide for my children, what's the main scientific difference between male breasts and female breasts other than
One provides milk.
one provides milk, the other does not, okay? And I'm pretty sure you can guess which one does the whole milking part.
And I don't care which parent does it, but one parent needs to put the kid first. And if you want to be a stay-at-home dad, more power to you. That's perfectly fine. That's great. But, for every stay-at-home dad, there's like 1,000 stay-at-home moms.
And it's not only that, I believe moms are better at some things than dads are. Moms are usually way more ethical, they teach children morals than dads do. Dads, especially for young boys need dads. This is scientifically proven, this is ethically proven, this is morally proven. Young boys need fathers.
I mean, look at the rate of like gang association and crime rates with the African American population with no father figure, and then the African American population with a father figure. the statistics are there. Like, there's a serious difference when one of the parents is missing in someone's development.
Exactly. And so, yes, mothers may have careers, but their first duty when they have children is to make homes, curate the homes, sell the homes, whatever. Just as long as they raise their child. All right, I think we're good on this one. Sorry if we tricked some of you. This is still decent political conversation.
If you don't agree, more
That's
power
fine,
to you.
yeah.
You do you. We'll do us. We respect you, and I hope you respect us. Moving on.
Our next question, this one might be quick, because I want Jake to give his 2 cents, because I really am lacking 2 cents when it comes to this topic. But it's multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. I don't know. I'm just going to put I disagree.
Here's the thing. If you look at the textile industry in India and all the outsourcing that Western companies have been hiring labor and growing their crops growing their cotton for their textiles in India, and then you look at the amount of severe birth defects that result in
it's crazy.
70% infant mortality rates.
Stuff.
It's the stuff they put in the. Okay, so let me explain. I got a little ahead of myself, but let me explain this. A company will sell a genetically modified crop that needs a certain pesticide to be able to thrive, function, and live to an Indian farmer and promises that it'll work better than their normal crop. The Indian farmer then plants that crop in their field. And then the company says, oh yeah, you need to buy our pesticide and our fertilizer for it to function or else it dies. And so then that same company owns those chemicals, and so they're making 3 times the profit off of this Indian farmer. But he has no choice because this is the only seed provider in his area. So then he puts all these things in the soil and they run off into the water. There's chromium in a lot of this fertilizer and pesticide.
And he just destroys babies,
and
right?
that chromium not only kills all of the natural environment, but when that water is also used for bathing and drinking, the amount of birth defects that these babies are born with is actually terrifying, and it saddens me more than anything else I've ever seen. So many babies are born with the most disturbing birth defects. The mortality rate.
I've seen some 2-headed babies before. This is not something X-Men.
The mortality
stuff.
rate is terrible. These babies look deformed, and it's all because of these pollutants in the water. I'm not saying genetically modified, organisms and plants are bad, but when you force people to use bad chemicals to grow those things, it's terrible. And unfortunately, there are some companies that hold monopolies on the seed industry
and they
in these
destroy
companies,
communities,
and they just force people to destroy themselves. So I strongly agree.
I don't know. I've not researched it, and personally, it doesn't affect me. And I can see the human rights issues, but I just say I disagree.
And that's perfectly fine. Yeah. That's good.
Making peace with the establishment is more important, is an important aspect of maturity. I strongly agree. I think you can be a revolutionary, you can be an anarchist, but does that get anything done? Will that actually provide constructive criticism to your government? Unless you overthrow them, of course. But at the same time...
Well, I disagree. But I definitely see where you're coming from.
I think that if you want to be a person to make legislation and change the way, you need to go through the process. You need to realize that there needs to be respect, not between you and the establishment. Because if you make this legislation, there's a chance you're going to become a part of the establishment. You're going to actually go into a career.
That is a really good point.
Why are you making this legislation in the first place? Are you going to just be an anarchist and scream communism, or are you going to try to pass a legal act that allows you to get a voice as an American citizen within...
Further your own beliefs
exactly.
and agenda.
So I strongly agree. You need... And even this is coming from Darius, the dude who freaking just screams all the time about his, random opinions about ASB or whatnot. The epitome of the establishment at our school.
Yeah, and you're not wrong.
I try to make peace with them when there's no reason not to make war.
Well, I disagree, and for a couple of reasons. If you look at, say, Israel, and the fact that Palestine owned them for the longest time. It's Palestine, right?
No. Oh yeah, Israel and Palestine.
Yeah, exactly.
Free Palestine.
So Palestine owned Israel for the longest time. Do you think the Israelites and their beliefs and their religion would benefit from making peace with the establishment? No.
Yeah, but
So
the UN gave it to them anyway.
So they didn't. They just kind of rebelled and waged a war against 5 different countries at once, and the UN helped them win. That's one example. If you and your beliefs do not fundamentally coincide with the establishment, then sometimes you just need to
That's
disagree.
also like super macro, what you're talking about. That's like
Yeah.
super macro. What I'm
But
talking about
with-
on a personal, on a person to government basis, on even local government. Yeah, you need to learn how to be mature. You need to learn,
Right.
yeah.
But I look at revolutionaries like Gandhi, and he never made peace with the establishment
Oh, I think
of British Raj. He fought against it.
Well, I think when it's like even when you're talking about Martin Luther King, I mean, he made peace. He's like, no, we are not going to fight back. We are not going to make each other look bad. We are not going to kill people in the name of our cause. We are going to make peace with the fact that what we're going to do is going to be legal. It is going to be safe, and it is going to be good. Sure, the establishment fought back, but did they make peace with that? Did Martin Luther King himself make peace with the fact they put him in jail? Was he mad? Yes. Read a letter to Birmingham. A letter from Birmingham, or whatever. But in the end, did he make his cause legal? Did he make his cause heard? Yes. And how? By making peace with the establishment.
I think this is 2 different interpretations of the phrasing, but I think we both agree on a lot of things here. Next page.
All right,
that
guys.
next page button.
This is going to be a shorty page.
Yeah,
This is going to be really funny.
This is religion, so
Yeah.
just remember the disclaimer here. You can disagree with us. That is great. That is fine. I fully support that.
Yeah.
Just hear us out. This is my opinion.
Can you pause it?
And I hope you respect
Pause
that. We'll be right back, folks. And we're back. Okay.
All right.
So basically,
yeah.
we'll respect you. You'll respect us. I hope that's how that works.
Yeah.
We're going to respect you regardless. We just hope that you give us the same courtesy. Here we go. Astrology accurately explains many things.
No, whoa.
Yeah,
Hold up,
strongly disagree.
Yeah, no, I think astrology, it's fun to read a horoscope every once in a while. Oh, I'm an Aquarius, so I'm going to do this month. Why would you let a dumb magazine or the stars dictate your life?
Yeah.
I think that's dumb. The only thing that
pretty
astrology
stupid
has
as well.
given us, and like tarot cards, are the stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Okay? Those are the only thing they've given us that is as actually fun to do, fun to watch.
It may be fun, but it's not accurate, and it doesn't explain anything.
Yeah.
Anyways, you cannot be moral without being religious.
I just slightly disagree with
I
this
strongly
one.
disagree because I, myself, am not religious, and I know plenty of people that are not religious that are very moral, and I would consider myself a moral person.
Well, see, but didn't you say you were religious beforehand, so you had an aspect of you that was obligated?
I was raised to be religious, and I just kind of am disenfranchised with it.
That's fine.
And
No,
so,
I completely agree with that. When I went to Europe, I kind of became, disgusted with the way the Catholic Church is. I'm not Catholic, but I've definitely felt like the way they're acting in the world right now is not the same way, and I believe that what they did was kind of hypocritical many times throughout the history. But as a Protestant Christian myself, who believes that there is a God, and believes that morality is an aspect of religion that has built up society, especially during the Dark Ages. And without the Catholic Church during the Dark Ages, it'd just be killing, it'd be raping all the time. Sure, they were still killing and raping, but without the Catholic Church, without Christianity, the Vikings would never have stopped. They would never have.
I think there's 2 sides of the coin which illustrate the falsity of this statement. There are plenty of Christians who do terrible things, and there are plenty of atheists and agnostics and non-religious people that do great things and that are
And
very
it's not just that. It's
and so
there's other religions too. Buddhism.
Yeah.
There's Judaism. There's Islam. You know?
Exactly.
I mean,
And-
I'm pretty sure almost all religious texts.
I mean, like the Buddhists in Myanmar just committed genocide. The Christians have committed genocide like 4 times. We call those the Crusades.
I wouldn't say genocide. I'd call it a holy war. And Islam has done the same exact thing.
Every religion.
Islam's jihad isn't even over. They're still fighting us.
Yeah, every religion does immoral things, and every person. Morality is relatively independent of religion.
But has religion built up the concepts of morality? Has it preached it to people?
In some places, yes.
Yes, of course. So I slightly agree. I think that without the concept of morality was taught to people, it was dictated to people through these early years, whether we like it or not, because they were integral parts of pre-modern and modern society.
Yeah, you can believe that. That's fine. I would tend to disagree for those reasons.
And our next question is: charity is better than Social Security as means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. I disagree. I think Social Security, as much as I hate socialism and communism, I think Social Security is still an excellent way to help those who need the help, who will need the backing of the government to try to be people who are good people or good citizens.
Those at the age of retirement, they are getting essentially money that was just saved for them by the government.
Yeah, exactly.
All Social Security is you get deducted a payment from your paycheck every month or every week, whenever you get it, or bi-weekly, whenever you get your paychecks.
And then you save it up over time.
And then you get it back when you're 65 or whatever whenever the age is.
And have you ever heard the term 401k or that kind of stuff? But that stuff is excellent. And when I become a freaking fat old geezer,
you're gonna want money to fall back on.
I want to watch baseball all day. I want to watch golf all day. I don't want to have to sit there and have to work 20 hours a week.
Yeah, people at retirement age shouldn't have to work, and I think it's kind of our responsibility to prop them up to a degree. Honestly, obviously, I want people at the retiring age to be able to afford to keep themselves financially stable. But some people, they've been working minimum wage all their lives, and that's not their fault. And they've tried, and they've worked hard, and they've contributed to society.
I think you should be able to prove it. Yeah, you need to prove that you've worked hard, and you really do deserve.
Sometimes the jobs that people work, their entire lives just don't pay enough for them to save up enough to retire. So
exactly,
it's just
And so our next question is: some people are naturally unlucky. I strongly disagree.
Yeah, I just moderately disagree.
People in this world, sure, there's an aspect of luck. Oh, you got an A on that test you didn't study for, right? Was that inherent knowledge? No, that's just, you could say it's just luck. But when it comes to making the most crucial decisions in your life, it is not luck. It is pure human drive, pure human logic, pure human thought when it comes down to it. And so, no, people cannot be naturally unlucky. If they make mistakes, sure, if you're born into a low-end community, a very low-income community, but then you choose to join a gang, right? Or you choose a way out that's easy, or...
Right.
That's your fault.
Point is, people make their own decisions.
Yes.
Luck is really not a real thing.
So we both are on the same side of this, so we can continue on. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. I strongly disagree. I think schools should teach the history of religion, how they were created, who
just so that people are more educated on what it is.
Just not the whole value part of it.
Right.
Because you can't just force that on everyone.
You can't instill religious values because anything public should be secular. That's my belief, and I think that's most Americans' belief. Even if you are Christian, government should be secular, and schooling should be secular.
And that's an aspect this of is also a complete episode on. This is a complete episode on its own.
Yeah.
Even. And
so essentially, I have no problem with learning about different world religions because that makes someone just a more educated, more worldly citizen. But you can't instill values just because it's a secular place. Moral and religious values should be instilled in the home. And so I think we both agree on this.
It's a private thing. It should be a private thing. And if you attend church, that's a community thing. That's a thing you do with people of your same faith. You go
because
to
you
your
can
synagogue.
Choose to do that or not. But
exactly.
If school is compulsory, which I think it should be,
then no, it should not. It should not be instilled.
Mandatory to instill.
So, sex outside marriage is usually immoral. So, there are two parts of me that always pull me away on this question. I mean, I've never had a girlfriend before, so I've never had that experience of being potentially drawn into it. But as a guy who likes to think a lot about these kind of, not to be a perv or anything, but just who thinks a lot about these social situations that I might get into to be prepared for them, is that there are two sides to me when it comes to this. One is the hormone dude who is just driven, driven by the to, go do a carnal action. And then there's just the very traditional conservative side of me that is don't do that, dude. It's supposed to be a special thing.
Well, I'm not religious, so I don't really see the immorality about sex. Rape is immoral, and I think, just having shallow one-night stands, it's not immoral, it's just kind of dumb.
I think it's a bad social practice. I think it's socially and religiously, it's a bad social practice. If you go to a club and, have sex with 5 girls in a single night, that's not good social practice, because one of them is going to get pregnant, then you have to pay child support. But it's just irresponsible.
I think it's dumb to have one-night stands. It's not my thing, but I don't find anything immoral about it.
I think people need to be responsible for their actions in life, and I think that I think sex is supposed to be a special thing. It's supposed to be a thing you do with someone that you love, and as teenagers, hormones drive us more than logic or actual human connection does. It's completely debatable, and once again, it's a topic that can be debated in a completely other episode. So
and
I moderately agree with this, though.
I can see where you're coming from. It's not where I come from, but that's fine. Next question: a same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. I strongly agree. I think I just moderately agree because I think the key term here, our APUSH key terms is that it's a stable relationship. Right. The loving part is always because you're probably gonna love someone anyway when you marry them. You don't want to just give a kid away to someone.
If I was an adoption agent and I saw these two lesbians come into my job, and there's two sets of lesbians that come in, or two sets of homosexual men that come in to my place to come adopt. Right. First of all, there's extensive background check. There are extensive background checks that one must do before you even be considered to adopt. But at the same time, do these people look like they will provide the best experience for this child growing up? Whether they instill their own values or not, whether they push them to be heterosexual, gay, lesbian, attack helicopter, that doesn't matter. But are they fit? Are they financially fit? Do they look like responsible parents?
Are they going to be able to raise the child responsibly?
Yeah.
And so, I think I want, with a stable, loving relationship, I don't see any reason not to.
Yeah.
If you don't want to give a kid away to someone who's going to get divorced in 2 years because that's just counterproductive. But so that's why I strongly agree.
Well, I just moderately agree because I'm at the same time I'm like I said, I don't want to be like a homophobe or the bad guy here, but I don't really agree with some of the stuff they do, and I'm not gonna push that on you guys either. Yeah, so let's go on to the next question.
That's fine. So pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population.
Slap that strongly agree button, guys.
I just moderately agree because this isn't really like I'm not very passionate about this
I think this is a very personal.
topic.
I don't watch 10 hours of porn each night. But what I'm saying is that if it's between consenting adults,
there's no reason.
It's also a gigantic contributor to not only the international economy, funny enough, but also the American economy.
Yeah, think about how many taxes are pulled from that income.
Yeah, porn makes over $1 billion in a year.
I'm sure it's more than that.
Definitely, maybe hundreds of billions even. And what does all that money go to? Sure, you're having immoral sex, like I've said before. Sure, but at the same time, if you want to watch it's part of capitalism.
Supply and demand. If there's a demand for it, then why not supply it? You're funding the government with your taxes.
It's not really a big deal.
It's a win-win-win. I don't see a problem with it.
If a man wants to watch porn, let a man watch porn, I say, boys.
So, next question. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state.
I strongly agree.
Slap that strongly agree button.
I think that the state has no business, and I say no, because this is what goes on your property, your home, or whatever, your landlord's home or your apartment or whatever. This is what is going on with your place. And
sex is not a government mandated or government regulated practice because it's a human practice.
If you're into that BDSM stuff, who cares? Yeah. No one. They even made a book about it. It sold billions of copies.
You do you. Cares. If you and your partner want to do something, why can't you do it? I don't understand.
Just don't hurt each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't pour oil on yourselves or something.
Don't kill each other. So, next question. No one can feel naturally homosexual.
Almost two of these in a row now. I
hate disagree.
Being the bad. I mean, what? I don't even know what that means. Like, what you're saying?
So basically, what you're saying is
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah, when you hit puberty, instead of being attracted to with a boy, instead of being attracted to girls, you are just naturally attracted to boys. That's natural homosexuality, and I think that is a possibility. I think that that's possible, and that people are just like that when they're born. And so I think, yes, people can feel naturally homosexual, so I disagree with this question.
I mean, I think there are definitely two sides to it. And now, man, I really hate sounding like the bad guy, but no, I have definitely seen social instances where people say they are bisexual or they are homosexual just for attention, just for straight up, hey, dude, I'm gay.
But, there are also people...
No, I am not disagreeing with you. I am saying that there are people, when they grow up, they are going to have different inclinations than us. They are still human. They are still viable members of the society. But yeah, I hate it when people start pushing this stuff on me. I hate it when the vocal ones start trying to push their thing, because I'm a straight male.
Right.
And I hate it when they kind of push it on me, all right? But that's all.
Are
Yes. Yeah, let me finish. Like I was saying, I don't want to be that guy. I don't hate anyone. I legit, I'm just saying, I just hate it when people push their things on me, which I do not accept, and that's usually what happens to me. I feel like it gets forced sometimes, but other than that,
it should be a live and let live thing. If you're homosexual,
I don't care. I don't care. Just don't push it, man.
Yeah.
Just don't push them. Don't say it's like a thing you can just do all the time, which I completely disagree with that. But that doesn't give me the right to hurt you in any way.
And as long as you just respect their right to do what they want, and they respect your right to believe what you want, I think there's nothing wrong with that at all.
All right.
So last question, boys. We're almost done. These days, openness about sex has gone too far.
I strongly distree.
I just disagree. I mean, it's not like something that I'm a super.
Actually, no, I don't know. I don't care.
I'm not a big proponent of that. I mean, I feel like back in the day it wasn't open enough, and I think the education that has come with it is really beneficial. So I disagree. I don't strongly disagree because it's not a big topic of mine, but So
let's finish this up now. If you're following along with us, this was so long. This was like incredibly devious, and we had to just letting you guys know, we had to reshoot a couple times. So if the audio quality is a tad bit off, then I'm so sorry. But let's just slap that now. Let's see where you stand button, and when you pull it up, it will show you where there'll be an example political compass. And then it'll show you where some of our most famous historic extremists
figures
are.
and
extremists.
Archetypes
these are all extremists.
Of political ideals are. So Gandhi is very libertarian left. Stalin is extremely authoritarian left. Hitler is extremely authoritarian and slightly right because he wasn't a big economic guy. He was just more of a you're going to do what I say at all times person. Margaret Thatcher, extremely capitalist. Friedman is a pretty libertarian.
Yeah.
And so you kind of get a general idea of where these archetypes of socioeconomic ideas fall. And if you scroll down, your political compass marking is all the way down here.
Yes.
And
so I got something different than we did yesterday, because yesterday we had to reshoot, but it turns out our thing wasn't recording. So, and like I said before, this is just a testament to the fact that it will change. It will change with what you believe. Or if someone talks to you about a topic and you change your mind about it, then be free. Have a choice to change it.
And that's perfectly fine.
I got economic right 1.38, and on my social libertarian authoritarian, I got 0.26. So what this means is, I don't know what this means. It just means I'm one square to the right I'm above the axis, and I'm one square to the right in the blue. So, does that mean I'm a Nazi? Oh,
no.
Hell no.
That just means you respect authority and you're more traditional in your economic values. And that's perfectly valid. Like, anything on this compass is valid as long as you can back it up with beliefs and evidence that you really genuinely believe in. I personally fall economically left at negative 0.35, so barely left. I'm a very moderate when it comes to economics. I have opinions falling on both sides. And social libertarian / authoritarian, I'm extremely libertarian with a negative 3.85, so I am down and slightly to the left, barely in the green box, but very libertarian.
Exactly, yeah.
So
no, it's cool, and honestly, be free. Feel free to share what you guys got with us, because we are always open to discussion, and like I said, if you guys ever want to come talk to us personally or be on the show,
and this is I'll lead into our next plug here. If anybody here is politically inclined enough to where you would want to have a discussion with us on air, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to be having guest stars pretty soon, and so if you are interested in talking politics with us,
shoot us an email.
Please feel free to send us slide into our loop mail. Or email,
slide in our DMs, whatever.
There's plenty of different ways to get in contact with us.
If you guys it'll be in the description below. Thank you so much, guys, for listening today. I'm Darius Rahmanian.
I'm Jake Niver. It's been a pleasure going through the compass with you guys, and I hope everybody's learned a little bit of where they stand. I know I understand where I stand a little bit better now.
We have to take screenshots.
I'm glad we've talked about this. So it's been nice, guys.
Thank you so much. And this was your very first official episode of SagePOL.
Catch you later, guys.